So good morning. So as I said last class, so we would see few of the programs that are really important, and also with the examination point of view, and also with the concept point of view, we need to go through in order to understand the concepts theoretically what we have studied. So we have seen in module 1, recap 1 and recap 2, many programs. Today we'll see a specific programs with a few of certain objective. So in which one of the program is a pyramid program. Okay, so that was being asked by one of the student to. So though I have forwarded, I just want to go with this program logically. So today I'll not go with the more of the theory what we have gone with, right? So here is a concepts. Okay, so we have a pyramid program. I'll go with this pyramid program. So how to represent this? Okay. So before that, a very simple program so that you are aware of to find the biggest of three numbers. If I ask you in the internals, you should be able to explain that. If I ask you to find the biggest of three numbers, how do you find, right? So we have an algorithm and we have a flow chart for it also. So given the three numbers, right, you need to compare whether A is bigger, B is bigger. So before you start the pyramid program, just to brush up at the basic thing. So we would see this program. Okay, so the program is to compare three numbers, check if it is A is greater than B, then third, if true, then check if A is greater than C. Two conditional, that is here you have to use a relational operator, right? Similarly, if that is the case, A is the greater number, you have to declare. If it is false, you have to check for other cases. Okay, so this is like a algorithm or a step-by-step representation of the steps I have seen, right? So this will see with respect to the flow chart also. If this question is being asked, you should be able to tell the which is the biggest number. Very simple concept. This you have done in your first semester. That is, this is the flow chart as per the start and stop. So once again, those who have joined right now, check if A is greater than B. How do you check? 3.1, 3.1.1, 3.1.2. That is, if true, if A is greater than B, you have to check whether it is A is greater than C or not. Again, if A is greater than C, if it is true, you declare that A is greatest number, or else C is the greatest number. So one more case is, if false, you check whether B is greater than C. Okay. Again, if B is true, you will print B is greater, C is greater. So this, in terms of a program, it is quite easy to understand. Read the three numbers A, B, C in the flow chart. You could see the diagrammatical representation. That is, first you identify whether A is greater than B. Just you compare two elements. If A is greater than B, if yes, then you do compare A with C, whether A is greater than C. Yes, if all the cases A is greater, you simply declare this A is largest number. So in the case of false, that is if A is not greater than B, right? So you do compare, you take into the consideration B, whether B is greater than C. So first objective is to identify first great element among two. Then you do compare which is larger, you compare with the third party, right? If it is false, you compare B is greater than C and you print B is the largest number. If both the condition fails, imagine if both the condition fails, we say that print is the largest number. So this is the way how do you analyze the flow chart. With the exam point of view, I have just circulated this with write an algorithm and a flow chart and a program to find the biggest of three numbers in the C recap one. And there are many ways of writing it. many thing I have to write it. So I said I'll go with this program once we finish this program. So all of you, I request you to concentrate and focus on the class. And though the strength is quite less, so we have 32 members, and I insisted many times to have to attend all the people. Today maybe I'm going to call those who are not attending the classes, even not even 2 or 3 classes they have attended. Maybe I'll take their number. I'm going to call them personally today to insist. It is not personally right to come and sit inside the classroom. At least online, it is quite easy for you, right? I don't know in which state you are there on other end. So we are go on giving the quality, and you need to focus on it, right? So every Saturday, what I'll do is I'll go with the programming. I'll not go with the theoretical concept. So in this case, to find the largest number, so you have ABC, simple printf statement. You know this, how to write a printf. So user has to enter 3 numbers from the keyboard. Once you enter from the keyboard, so as I said, as per the flow chart, first you compare 2 numbers, whether E is greater than B, equals to B. How does it works? If it is greater, and we have a conditional and operator. So when an and operator, how does it works? And operator works in such a way that both the condition should be compulsory true. Both the condition is compulsorily true, then only it will enter this condition. If both the conditions are true, then only it will enter this condition, or else it not enter. If any one of the condition is fail, it will come out over here, right? Then it will check this condition. So the meaning is that if A is compulsory greater than B, if A is compulsory greater than C, it prints A is the largest number. Percentage D is the largest number means percentage D means A here representation. So if you are aware of the concepts of C, so the concepts of C, right? And one more, if A is greater than C is greater than A, C greater, compulsorily these conditions, C, it should be greater. In that case only it will enter into this conditional statement. Hence we are able to write this. Okay, so this is by using simple if condition to identify largest of big numbers. You know this concepts, right? The input and how to give the output also, right? Next, coming to the if else statement, there are many ways. This we have identified only by using simple if. Similarly, we have if else. So how do you write a number? That is, if A is greater than B, you get inside this condition, then you check A is greater than C, then condition else what will say, you go to the some other condition. Okay, go to the other condition, else B may be greater than C. Else first you identify whether A is greater than C. If yes, again you enter into the A is greater than C. Two times you have to go inside the if conditions. This I'll circulate this program. If and nested if, again if yes, A is greater, else you say that C is the greatest number. Okay, because you have compared it. Else what you will do, you compare whether B is greater than C. If B is greater than C, you print that B is the largest number. So this is the way of using if else condition. Even I circulate this also, there it is only the different way of writing a program using specific conditions, right? Using if else. So if they ask you if else, first instead if you use to identify whether A is greater, else you declare that C is the greatest number, because the condition wise you have to write. Next you have one more program using nested if else statement. So using nested if else, if within if, so if A is greater than B and A is, so simply print it is A is greater. Else if you compare B is greater than, this is also a very important program. Else simply print as C is a largest number. So this you could be able to print. So probably if you could focus just for a while, you could see the program. What exactly the program is. Conditional and. So we have and operator, and operator. Else simply you print that C is greater. Okay, one more last program is using ternary operator, a very important uh, program what is ternary operator. So we have a specific syntax for using a ternary operator. You remember that. So first you represent the condition over in this box, followed by the colon, right? If this is a question mark, so you represent this. So we'll see the syntax of it. So how do you write a first conditional operator? This I have taught in the C recap one. So here is the conditional operator. So first condition, question mark, then condition followed by colon, what have to be taken, this or this. See, this is one condition within the condition. So if for your sake of understanding, if you may not be able to follow this, so just focus on simple one condition, that is this condition. How does this is one of the ternary operator. This is one of the ternary operator. Okay, this is one of the ternary operator, and all together is a ternary operator. If I write it in the box, all together it is a ternary operator. Let us focus on this oval. How does it works? This ternary operator works. First condition, whether b greater than c. Yes, if b is greater than c, whether b is greater than c, right? If b is greater than c, simply you print that b is, you have to return value, which value? B return. Else you will return c value. How does it works? First question mark followed by, if yes passes means this condition, then followed the colon. If fails means this condition after colon. Try to understand. Similarly, in this case also, in this case also, in this case also, if a is greater than c, yes, you return a value. If not, you return c value. This is one ternary operator. So ternary 1, ternary 2, and all together how it is a ternary operator. So this you have to see. If a is greater than b, this is a c. Once again the question mark, this is one expression. If a is greater than b, which condition you have to follow? If a is true, greater than b, you have to come to this oval. If it fails, you come to this oval. Now hope you are able to understand, right? If a is greater than b, you have a question mark over here. Altogether, this box is also a ternary operator. Individually, this is a ternary operator. This is a ternary operator. And altogether as a box, it is a ternary operator. In the sense, if a is greater than b, you come to this oval, number 1. No means you come to this. After coming this, again you have to evaluate whether a is greater than c. If yes, you come to a. So internally, you know the operations. Hopefully able to understand this. If you have not understood, if you have a awareness of a conditional operator, you find it easy. Okay. Once again, so this is one condition till question mark. If it passes, you have to come to this bracket expression within which one more is there. If it fails means, if it is true, if this condition fails means you have to come to this. This means what? This. In between, we have a concept of ternary operator, colon, second condition before second condition, and after first condition, you have a question mark. You have a question mark. And always before question mark, we have a expression, a greater than b. And internally, it works in the same. Internally, how does works? Again, this is internally a greater than c is condition. If this is pass, a. If fails, c. It is true. it is false. Same as if like it works for other things. So let me proceed further. Hopefully you have followed it. So no need to explain again and again. Right now, let me go to the next concept. Okay, this is to find the biggest of three numbers. So now one more program, if you are attentive before I go to the pyramid program. So to find, to find biggest of three numbers, read three integers and display their sum and average. How do you do it? So you know it is also a very simple program. Enter the three integers. You have percentage %d, three numbers scanf that is being stored into the keyboard. Once you find it, so average of three numbers means average. So you have to, similarly, if you want to sum is very simple. Sum, what you do, equals to n1 plus n2 plus n3, is it or not? So you end with a semicolon, and same as if like you have to take one more variable, and you have to take one more printf statement. So in the one more printf statement, what do you do? So simply replace, instead of average, you take this as a sum. You take this as a sum, and percentage. So this is to restrict the variance, since it has been taken as a double over here. So float yesterday has been taken, right? So you have to print this sum value. If you have a confusion, you simply take an integer. Okay, case sensitive sum. So this is just for the printf statement. Since it has been taken float, if it is taken percentage d, sorry, integer, you could take as a percentage d as such. Okay, this is also one of the program. For one more program, we'll see in the next sessions. Now coming to the pyramid program. So you have to print this just for 15 minutes. We'll see this program. So a simple tracing of one of the loop we will see. This is the program that you have to print it. Okay. So there are many pyramid programs. So into which today I'll just see a simple program. So what do we do is, so one more program is there. Okay. See, this is also one of the program. Many pyramid programs are there. So if you're able to visualize this screen, so you have to print this pyramid. The structure of a pyramid should be like this. How do you print? See, always it is always we do use a for loop to print such structure, right? First analyze it. So how many number of rows are there? 1 2 3 4 5. So 5 rows are there. So you may give the provision from the user. So how many number of rows you want to construct in terms of a pyramid? If it is 5 means it will take a 5. So before that, whether the pyramid goes in this structure or reverse structure, how does it looks like? See, so you could see there are spaces. If you could count from here at the last row, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 stars are there. So 9 to which, so on the left hand side, how many rows spaces is there, that you have to count? 1 2 3 4. 4 spaces on the left, 4 spaces on the right. Right, after 4 spaces you have to print star. So that you have to remember, right? Then you have to go on decrementing the spaces. That is decrementing, not incrementing. You have to decrement these spaces. Now see, enter the number of rows. You enter the number of rows as how many? Imagine the number of rows you want to is 5. So 5 will be stored over here. 5. The value of rows equals to 5. Okay. The number of rows equals to 5. So I less than equals to rows in the first iteration of the for loop. So for I equals to 1, I less than equals to 5. What is the value of 1? 1, I 1. 1 less than equals to 5. Yes, it is less than equals to 5. You have to increment it. Okay. Then you come inside this for loop. In this for loop, what happens is you have to identify the how many spaces you have to go with, how many times this for loop has to be executed for the number of spaces. So imagine initialize space number equals to 1. 1 less than or equals to rows minus I. What is row? Row is 5, no? So 4 spaces. Less than is 1 less than equals to 4. Yes, first time loop will be executed, right? Again, loop will be, space will be incremented. Remember, plus plus I. So again, 2 less than equals to 4. You are inside this for loop. Remember, you are inside this for loop. You entered this for loop, outer for loop, inner for loop. Again, 3 less than equals to 4. Yes. 4 less than equals to 4. Yes. 4 times spaces have been executed. Again, remember now what happens? 5 less than equals to 4. No, condition fails. In this case, you come out of it. Which loop? You come out of this for loop. You print all. By that time you have printed 4 times the spaces. Remember, by that time you have printed the 4 times the spaces. Then coming to the cases of printing, you have to print star. Hope all of you following this concept. So I'll write the iteration and I'll forward this. In fact, so if you write this iteration, you find it easy, right? Then once you come out of the for loop, you have to print star, and that to print, it is not that simply you print the star at the correct positions. This is how do you print? By taking into the consideration one of the k values, k not equals to 2 multiplied by I minus 1. So for the first iteration, if you could see, so k not equal to 0. So you have 2 multiplied by I value is 1. So 1 minus 1 is 0. So first it will be 0. Okay. So there are many programs. So now it is a time consuming for me to go ahead with the pyramid program. So now with the syllabus point of view, we have one of a program. In fact, all the pyramid programs are important. They might ask anything on this program. So this is from the syllabus, what you have. So let me brief up for fast. Okay. Okay, this is a pyramid program. Fine. So this you have to execute. Here also the same concept is there. In different way we have written this. Let me focus on this program. So how do you write this program? So if you could see this program here also, if I say till here you have to print the pyramid, this row. So how many spaces are being left out on the left hand side of the 0 and right hand side of the 0? There are 4 spaces. Again on the right hand there are 4 spaces. This you have to first picturize. Again when you go to the next level, so you could see in the middle all zeros are there. So one, it is same as if like pyramid. One on the first row middle position is 0. Second row middle position right left is 1, right? Third row middle position 0 with right left 1 1, extreme right left 2, right? Again the third row middle is 0, on the right hand side left hand side 1, second right second left 2, third right third left third. So as if like consecutively it goes on proceeding till you identified. So he has given 7. So the number of rows that you have to identify is 8. Okay. So let me go to the program. So here is a pyramid program. So what we are going to do is, so let me construct a very simple pyramid in the same fashion. Okay. So it depends upon the numbers that he use. He has used 0 0 0. I'll input 1 2 3 4. Okay. So it is only the thing what you insert over here inside. So enter the number of rows. So I'll enter the number of rows equals to 5. 5 rows. So enter the loop repeat number of rows. So we'll take num equals to 5. We can see in the output, we'll take the n equals to 5. Once you take n equals to 5, n equals to 5. So first for loop, what do you do? 1 second. Okay, first for loop. So as I said, in num equals to 5, whether r equals, initialize r equals to 1. This is for the rows. First row, 1 less than 1 is 1 greater than equals to 5. Yes. So I enter this into the rows. After that, what we'll do, this is for the spaces. This for loop is specifically to identify the number of spaces within a for loop. How many spaces you need to continue. So you could see here, this for loop will execute the number of times the spaces are being required. For example, for the first iteration, see 1 greater than equals to 5, you are inside the first row. You're inside the first row. Now how many spaces? You need 4 spaces. So it will execute in such a way that the iteratively to print the space. This is space. Okay, print space followed by semicolon. So in this case, what happens? What is space? Space equals to 5 minus 1. So 4. So space value is 4. So whether 4 greater than equals to 1? Yes. Yes, print this space. One space is being printed. Space means blank. Again, what is the value of space? The space will be decremented. This is 5 minus 1. No, 5 minus 1 is 4. Is 4 greater than equals to 1? Yes. First iteration of this for loop. Then it will be decremented. It will come to the 3. Whether 3 greater than equals to 1? Yes. Again, space is printed. Again, 2 greater than equals to 1, printed. 1 greater than equals to 1, printed. 0 greater than equals to 1, condition fails. That time it will come out of this for loop. It will come out of this for loop. It will come out of the for loop and it will enter over here. By that time you have printed into the memory 4 spaces. Next you have to print a 0. No. So what happens? For c equals to 1 now. So in this case he has taken 1. So c equals to 1. 1 less than or equals to, whether 1 less than or equals to r is equals to 4 5 number of rows. So what will do? Print percentage d c. What is the value of c? 1. No? So it will print 1. In your case, in your program of your book, if you print c equal to 0, it will simply print 0 instead of 1. So let me go with this program as such. So since we have taken 1, it will print 1. Again, after print 1, what happens? It will identify whether 1 less than or equals to, it will increment. Okay. So you have the concept. Say this last printf, once you complete the complete row, then you have to go to the next line. Clear? So if you iterate for the first row, you will try to understand very easily this one. So percentage d c value is 1. So if you could see the output here, so 1 is being printed with the 4 spaces. Before go to the next iteration, so this is to print 1. So and for this for loop, imagine in the first iteration, so loop will be repeated 1 that is 1 less than equals to 5, yes, then it will be incremented 2 less than equals to 3, 4 as such. For this case, in this case, you have to print x. So we could see the initialization of the x over here. So x is a variable. X equals to 5 minus 1 is 4. Is 4 greater than equals to 1? Again, you have to decrement this. Yes, 4 is greater than equals to 1. You have to print x value. The x value is 4. See, what we do is you take one iteration and iterate it. You find it easy while writing this, identifying the nested for loop. This is a for within for, okay? So imagine within this for, we have so many for loops. So for individual iteration of row 1, it will execute 4 times this for loop. For either r equals to 1. For individual 5 times it will execute 2, 3, 4, 5 for individual row. Within this for loop, this will execute the number of times the spaces are required. For example, for a first row, 4 times this will execute for individual iteration, that is row 1. Then this is, once you come out of this for, you enter this for. After printing the spaces, you print the specific value that you have to print. Clear? So I request you to give the attendance in chat session. So what I will do is I'll reiterate this program and I'll show you the tracing for at least one row. That time you find it easy, and you may go ahead with the row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. Okay, then you find it easy, though I annotate you have a lot of confusions. So what I'll do is I'll show you this program by writing the iteration specifically for this kind of output that is taking into the consideration 5 rows. How do you get exactly 1 with the 4 spaces right left? And the row 2, what happens? This is row 1, this is row 2, row 3. So after row 1, you have to go to the next line as such. So this for will work only for 5 times, but this for works the number of spaces that is being required. This is to print the value. So if you have taken 1, it will print 1. If you take 0, 0 less than equals to 4. So with respect to that, it will print. So maybe again, I'll explain this program with different examples when it is required. So every Saturday, what we'll do is we'll go with the programming rather than going with the theory. So you might expect such questions also for your internals. What are the programs I did today? That is finding a largest number, and also one of the program to find sum and average in the first recap one, and other programs such as finding a factorial of a number using while loop. And in the recap 2, you could find a program to find a pyramid. Those have not given the attendance in the chat session can give the attendance as of now for today's class. Similarly, there are many other pyramid programs also. So I suggest you could go ahead with the simple pyramid program rather than going directly with the complex pyramid program. Here are few of the pyramid, half pyramid, full pyramid as such. What happens is it is a full pyramid. In fact, this is a simple program. See here, if you are focusing still into the classroom, you could see here, you have this in the first row only. First you have to print, no concept of space. So enter the rows. So you enter the number of rows 5. So I equals to 1, 1 less than equals to 5. So what you have to do for outer for, so come to the next for, again you do consider for printing. Okay, outer for is to find the number of rows, inner for is directly to print the number of the element. Okay, j equals to 1, j less than equals to I, you simply print the first. Okay, see how, let us iterate this all of you. If you are not, if you are just focusing, I equals to 1, 1 less than or equals to the number of rows, the number of rows equals to 5, so it is yes. So you enter here. Next for loop, next for loop here, j equals to 1, initialize j equals to 1, j less than or equals to, is j less than 1 less than or equals to 1? Yes, it is equal, no? So what as it enters, it prints the star. So you are into the inner for loop. Next again, j is equals to 2 incremented, whether 2 less than or equals to 1, what is the value of I? Still it is 1. So what happens, we are into the inner for. So condition fails, that time it will come out of this for, it will come out of this for, and still you are into this for loop. Okay, now you have to come out of this loop, whether I equals to 1, I equals to 1 is incremented, you go to the second row. See here, all of you, just still we have a time. If you are, see, this is a this is the output, star star. If you go with this program, you find it easy rather than going with the complete pyramid. See, half pyramid. So this is first row, this is second column, third column, fourth column. Okay, now is it or not? Just see the output like this. You have to go on incrementing the this thing. No, now let us see, let us see those who have not understood. This for is for the number of rows. So I equals to 1, 1 less than equals to the number of rows 5. Yes, 1 less than equals to 5. Yes, you enter this for, this for, outer for. Now inside, j equals to 1, that is the first column. This is represents the row, this represents the column. This is row, this is column. How many columns the first one will have? Only first, no, first element of the column. So j equals to 1, what happens, element for printing the element, j equals to 1. Yes, 1 less than or equals to the value of I. Yes, you, what you have to do, you enter it, you star will be printed. This is being done. Yes, someone has raised the hands, raised the hand. Is any doubts, Prasad? Oh, it is not visible, sorry, sorry Prasad, it is a black screen. Okay, fine. Okay, okay, let us see. Okay, maybe I would have copied into someone some white screen. Anyway, I'll explain once again. Prasad, no issues. Thank you for raising the hand and telling me the issue. So what I will do is I'll take separate sessions specifically to explain the pyramid program, not in regular class. Definitely it is not possible for me to explain it in regular class. So I'll explain this in a separate session. Maybe you have to schedule maybe on Sundays. So it is not possible to do it on, or else on the Saturdays evening I could schedule it. So sorry for the interruption. So I could not